Thank you very much. His Excellency Alhaji Yahaya Bello, Commander of the Order of the Niger. With your kind permission, I would like to align myself with the protocols that have been very well established. I'd like to start by saying I am an extremely passionate person, but I'll try not to reveal my passion by shouting, like my brother, the Commissioner for Finance, who is equally very passionate. Education, we know, has been defined in various ways, and it has very many concepts by great men of the world. From the Martin Luther King to President Nelson Mandela, President Muhammadu Buhari, and Governor Yahaya Bello, education has been variously described as a means that drives towards development, that drives toward illumination and liberation of people. And for that reason, when His Excellency came on board in 2016, there was the need for the state government under him to do an audit of the status of education in our state. And the result of that exercise, which was called the Education Roadmap, it was the State Education Summit, and it was tagged Education Roadmap. Two major findings came out. Number one, it was our education in Kogi State before the advent of His Excellency basically had no plan. Things were just happening at the instance of people, which is referred to as the rule of thumb. They just feel, oh, let's do this today, it's done. Let's do that tomorrow, it's done. There was no cohesion. People did what they wanted to do. That was problem number one. Second problem was insufficient funding. There was not enough budgetary allocation to take care of education. So the crux of my discussion this morning is going to be on where planning and the provision of adequate funding has taken us to educationally in Kogi State. Because there was no plan, the state came up with an education sector plan from when it started till year 2030. So everything that you see us do in Kogi State, educationally, just as in other sectors, is not based on the governor wakes up on the right side of bed or on the wrong side of bed and takes a decision. It's a carefully designed and crafted plan of where we want to be. And to back our plan up, we needed to know how much money will be required. And after several back and forth, also bearing in mind that the state had operated a single-digit budgetary allocation to education, the governor very bullishly advocated a 30% allocation to education from the annual budget of the state. And that is what we have run our education with. Thank you very much. The impact of that is that UNESCO recommended a benchmark of 26% budgetary allocation to education. But after all we have done, we realized that 26% was going to be too little in spite of all the decadence that we have seen. Therefore, we're going to run with 30%. And let me tell you what the result of the 30% allocation has done for us. I will talk of the money aspect and also the planning. It was discovered that the state was just running education anyhow. There was no law to regulate our system. You could just come and start a private school in one awkward corner. Examination malpractices, order of the day. Cultism, even in primary schools. Then, it came up that we needed an education law. So, there was a law that was crafted to regulate education in the state. And if I'm not mistaken, Kogi State remains the only state, especially in northern Nigeria, that has a fully enacted education law. And this happened under Alhaji Yahaya Bello. Majority of states in northern Nigeria, if not all apart from Kogi, still operate and run their education with the 1964 Northern Nigeria Education Law as amended. So that clearly stood us and is still standing us out. Also, we realized that there was no data for you to even adequately plan. Therefore, a lot of money had been devoted for the conduct of annual school census, which is a requirement for you to be looked at by any international donor in the area of education, UNICEF, UNDP, World Bank. They will not look at you, especially if you do not have data. We have deployed a lot of resources to ensure that we regularly and annually conduct our annual school census. And to take it further, we are in the process of automating our annual school census, so that from wherever I am, from wherever the governor is, he can pick up his phone and tell you the number of students in a particular local government secondary school in the farthest part of the state. That is where we are taking the conduct of our annual school census to. That will help us in the new policies that the government is coming up with, which I will talk about before I conclude this short remark that I'm making. We now realized that at the secondary school level, we did a survey and did a gap analysis in the area of teachers. The teachers required to adequately teach our students. And there was a huge gap because the state had not recruited teachers for ages. And the governor approved that we should recruit 3,979 teachers. Now, this is a process that we have started and it is ongoing. As I speak with you, we have brought in over 1,500 teachers. And what the beauty of it is the fact that the process of bringing in the teachers is the way it is done in the private sector. Everybody that wanted to teach was asked to apply online. If you are shortlisted, you come for a CBT test, a computer-based examination. And for people who meet the cutoff, you are invited for an oral interview. So that what happened in some states where a teacher could not read the statutory declaration of age that she submitted, and the governor of that state sat with that person, and that person could not read it, will not happen in our case. So we ensured that we made sure that the teachers that we recruited had to go through the full process of recruitment. And let me shock you. Even though we're in a political era, the governor said, I am not going to get myself involved in the process. Do it the best way you can do it. I am not going to present any one person to you for recruitment. And the governor fulfilled that. And therefore, every other political office holder had no say. Since the principal is saying, I'm not going to bring anybody who is not qualified, in fact, he did not bring anybody whether qualified or not. So, therefore, what my colleagues did was to submit names, submit CVs, anybody that is able to meet the requirement who was employed. And that had stood us out. A few months later, I discovered, reading in papers, that some of my colleagues in other states of North Central Nigeria, and indeed the entire Northern Nigeria, some of them even spoke with me to ask how we did it. Did your governor not intervene? I said no. They did not believe, but that was exactly what happened. And as I speak with you, in the core areas, we have teachers that are teaching, and that has affected positively the results that we have come out with, especially in WAEC and NECO. Sometimes, maybe before the advent of this government, Kogi State rating in WAEC was 28 out of 36 states in Nigeria, so number 28. But during this government, we moved to number 14 in Nigeria because of all of the effort that this government is making. Also, this government inherited one state university called the Prince Abubakar University, Anyaba. And of course, at some point, we knew from our plan that there was need for another state university. Not just because we want to start a university, but because of the sufferings of our would-be applicants into the university. Because Kogi State is regarded as educationally advantaged, even though I don't know what that means. When a child of Kogi State wants to go into the university, he scores a mark that is so high, but because he's from Kogi, they would rather give that admission slot to somebody from another state who scores like half less than what the Kogi person has scored. And our children were suffering. One, they won't get admission. Two, they will, even when they get admission, they get it to courses that they never wanted to read. But just because they want to be in the university, they don't have a choice. So the governor started by saying, we are going to start, from our plan, we are going to start another university, a specialized university of science and technology. For two things. Number one, to fill that void, to fill the gap of our students not getting enough admission, and also because we are a state that is very rich in natural resources. We needed to get our children and our populace, we needed to get them prepared to take the challenges ahead. I have had various numbers. Some people will say out of the 32 mineral deposits, Kogi has 30 in commercial quantities. Some will say it's 50, Kogi has 48. Whatever the figure is, it is clear that Kogi has got huge deposit of minerals under the ground. So the governor said we needed to prepare our children for us to tap into what is going to happen, the revolution that will happen very, very soon. So he's been visionary to say, let us get set. That university started in the year 2020. Another thing about that university that it started in the year 2020, the year of almighty COVID, when the whole world was hit under their bed because COVID was attacking everybody. But we treated COVID differently in Kogi State. And it was in that year, 2020, that our University of Science and Technology came on board. It had the record for the fastest university to be established. But guess what? In the year 2023, we started yet another university called the Kogi State University, Kaba. We thought we had a record with Kogi State Confluence University of Technology, Osara, but we have a faster record with Kogi State University, Kaba. Somebody may wonder, why the plethora of universities in Kogi State? Yes, we have a population. We have people who are not educated. And people, even people from our state, criticized the decision and said, how are you going to be able to fund 3 state universities? And the governor said, whatever you can conceive, you can implement. Whatever your mind tells you to do, the only thing that is lacking is you. You are the only one that can defeat your own dream. We have dreamt the dream and we are going to make it come to pass. As I speak with you, we have appointed principal officers for the university, the VC has resumed, another principal officers. Contractors are on site. We have gotten NUC's approval. And by the grace of God, we are going to admit students into that university before the end of October. And the university has come to stay. Now, it is a general university. It is not specialized. And the reason is that we have seen that the one in Osara, the Science and Technology University in Osara, does not have the capacity to still take some of the programs that our children have been denied of. Let me paint a simple picture. I'll get to that. Let me say that the thing with our universities is that the university are adequately funded to the point that there is no program in our university, 2 that are already running, plus our tertiary institutions. There is no program that is not fully accredited by the regulatory agencies supervising those institutions. Our 2 universities that have been in existence are regulated by the Nigerian University Commission, and all of their programs are fully accredited. Our polytechnic is regulated by the National Board for Technical Education. All the programs of Kogi State University are fully accredited. We have 2 colleges of education. There is one in Kaba that is moving to Mopa because of the university that is going to Kaba. And there is the one in Ankpa. It's regulated by the National Council for Colleges of Education. All of their programs are accredited. Let me shock you. The one in Kaba presented a number of programs for accreditation. And after the accreditation, the National Council for Colleges of Education said, you have more than enough capacity to do more than what you are doing. So we are going to give you accreditation in principle for you to commence 2 additional programs. All these things did not happen by chance. It is because of careful planning and sufficient funding. So anybody is free to come study in Kogi because we have what it takes to host you. I would like to talk about the fact that Kogi State tertiary institutions have not witnessed a single strike since this government came on board. And because of that, in the year 2021 admission, when was it year 2022, because of the 9-month strike that other universities experienced, there was an explosion in our university in Anyigba. Because it remained the only university that did not close down. Everybody wanted to come to Anyigba from all over Nigeria. Against a space of 6,000, we could only agree 6,000, but we had application in excess of 25,000. So you can imagine what that has done to us. Even our own children, even our own Kogi State children did not have admission into programs that they wanted to study. So the university had to keep jacking up the bar so that they can weed out as many people as possible. One of the reasons why they will now have to start another state university. I'd like to talk about the fact that if we have 3 universities, how then do we populate the universities with our own students? Students from Kogi State and because they must be qualified, they must meet JAMB requirements for them to get admitted into our schools, into our universities. So what did we do? We knew there was the need for us to do a total turnaround in our secondary school system. So because we now had to plan it and provide sufficient funding to be sure, of course we are giving them teachers, to be sure that those schools that the children are coming into, that's the secondary school system, are schools that move towards STEM philosophy, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And that gave birth to the GYB Model Science Secondary School concept, where we have the schools springing up across the 3 senatorial districts of Kogi State. One of the schools, very proudly, was commissioned by former President Muhammad Buhari on the 29th of December last year. It is a school that is a beauty to behold. It is not just an ordinary secondary school. And that is coming up across the whole state so that our students that we want into the university, students of our state that we want into the university, will be adequately qualified and deserving of being admitted into our own universities as well as other universities across the world. Now, let me say that Kogi is bordered by 9 states plus Abuja, making 10. If we fail to take care of our secondary school system and we build universities, first-class universities, and we do not make provision for our own children to graduate from secondary school into our universities in Kogi State will be populated by people from Ekiti, Ondo, Edo, Delta, Enugu, Anambra, Niger, Kwara, and Nasarawa, and including Benue. It will be a disservice for this government if we do not prepare our students in the secondary school system. I'm told that my time is winding down, so I have so much to say, but I believe that I've said something, I've said enough. However, let me conclude by saying that because we are a government that is constantly thinking under the leadership of His Excellency, we are taking our philosophy of granting access to education to our populace by declaring that from this session, this new session, education in Kogi State, from primary 1 to primary 6, GSS 1 to GSS 3, SS 1 to SS 3, we are making it absolutely free and compulsory. The next thing will be, how are you going to fund it? I told you earlier, the governor said, whatever you can conceive, you have the capacity to implement. We have conceived it and we are going to implement it. Finally, we are not just going to stop at that. We are also going to ensure that WAEC, the fees for WAEC, the fees for NECO, the fees for JAMB, the fees for the junior WAEC, the fees for common entrance will be taken care of 100% for every child in every public school in Kogi State. Now, this is a foundation. Thank you very much. This is a foundation that His Excellency Governor Yabelo has built. This is a foundation that we must do everything possible to promote its sustenance. And I'm glad that we have erudite gentlemen of the press who are here today that will help propagate these things. This thing I'm saying is not politics, because the governor has told me education is not politics. We cannot politicize education, because education is our now, education is our tomorrow, education is our several years to come. I hope I didn't shout. Thank you very much.